Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Quartet Lesson 9 Part 3 live stream. Tonight we are only covering two sections, because that's all we have left in Lesson 9. They are Eru, Enai, and Moshi Nai. Actually, it's Mo Shinai. Mo Shinai. These are the colors we use for each of our grammar points. It's light blue for any of the new grammar points, and the other colors are all for words that haven't shown up yet in Genki or Quartet, but that we feel are important for you to learn. Maybe they show up on the JLPT, or they're just very common words, by the way, are pink. So let's go ahead and jump into it. We've got possible and not possible with eru and enai. And this is not just the verbs eru and enai, it's the suffix eru and enai. It's when you attach it to a verb stem. By verb stem, I mean the mas verb stem. So for like taberu, you drop the ru, and then you would add mas if it was tabemas, like the mas form of taberu. But the stem of that is just tabe. So tabeeru means possible to eat. But you're generally not going to be using eru and enai for things like can eat or can sleep. Things that are doable, like that I can do. Actions that you can do, you have the capabilities to do, you're not going to be using eru and enai for that. You're going to be using the potential form, which you've already learned way back in Genki 2 for that. These are more like something is possible to occur, or something is possible to occur, or something is not possible to exist or to occur. Things like that. It's a little bit more precise in that situation. It's possible that this thing can occur. It's possible for this thing to exist. Another thing to mention is that these are mostly written forms. You're not going to use them super frequently in conversation, except for the colloquial, not necessarily colloquial, but these two phrases, arieru, which is the combination of aru, arimasu, right, to have, and arienai. Then the first one, arieru, means that something is possible. It's possible. Arieru. Arienai means something is impossible. That's it. And those ones are actually both very, very common in conversation. Now, with that said, we were just working on, obviously, this lesson this week, and we've been watching JoJo a lot recently, when we're eating lunch or dinner. And I had just finished translating all the sentences for this section, and I already knew the grammar point, so it wasn't like it was new to me or anything, but during the episode of JoJo we were watching that day, in the space of like 10 seconds, one of the characters used this grammar point, and it wasn't arieru or arienai. It was just another usage of it in a space of 10 seconds. They used it twice. So it will come up, not just in writing, but it is more of a writing form besides the phrases arieru and arienai. But you may hear it, in other media and stuff like that. So keep it in mind. And remember, it means it's not I can do this. It's this is possible to occur, or this is not possible to occur, or it depends on the verb that's attached to it, of course, but this could happen, or this could exist, things like that. You'll see what we mean in the example sentences. So let's go ahead and jump into it. The first one is 考えうるアイディアはすべてメモするようにしています。I make it a point to write down every idea I can think of. And what I forgot to mention on the last slide, but it's a good reason to have this example sentence first, is that for eru only, when it's in its dictionary form, it can be read as either eru or uru or eru. And generally speaking, whether or not it's read as eru or uru, and remember, only in the dictionary form, not when it's enai, not when it's emas, not when it's, any other form, just in its dictionary form, it can be read either way, and it tends to be a person-to-person thing. There's, generally speaking, okay, in this situation, this one's uru, and in this situation, it's eru. Nothing, well, there is just one situation. Otherwise, it's just people have preferences on how they want to use it. This is the only exception to that. With the verb kangaeru, it is always read as uru, at least when it's in its dictionary form. So kangaeuru, it's always uru, okay? Otherwise, with other verbs, it can be either eru or uru, any other verb except for kangaeru, right? But it doesn't matter which one you use, and one person might say okori eru, and one person might say okori uru. All right, if it's in dictionary form, it could be read as u. Anyway, let's break this one down. It says, I make it a point to write down every idea I can think of. So, 考える. So, possible to think of. Possible to think of idea. So, ideas possible to think of. Wa, that's the topic, emphasizing what comes next. すべて, all. Memo. Memo is memo. する. Memo する. So, I make a memo. All of them. ようにしています. So, I make it a point to make a memo of every idea that I can think of. That's the sentence. Next one is, パワハラになり得る行動は部下を叩く、無視をするなどがあります。So actions that are possible to become power harassment are hitting your inferiors, ignoring, etc. Power harassment has been a big topic in Japan for quite a while now because it's very common. At least it was for many, many years up until recently. I think it still is pretty common now. But it's something that is talked about and very much discouraged in modern Japan. So it's something that comes up a lot. Pawahara means power harassment. Ni narieru, so possible to become. Possible to become. Kodo, so actions that are possible to become power harassment. That's the topic. Wa buka o tataku, so hitting people, hitting your inferiors. Mushi o suru. Mushi suru means to ignore someone. So mushi o suru means to ignore someone, right? Nado. Nado is etc. Ga arimasu. So those are the things that we have. Actions that are possible of becoming power harassed. こんな小さな町でさえ大きな犯罪は起こり得ます。So even in a small town like this, it's possible for major crime to occur. So こんな小さな町. So a town as small as this, でさえ. Even in a town as small as this, 大きな犯罪. So big crime. Wa, and that's a new topic and emphasizing what comes next. The most important part of this is, because of that emphasizing wa, okoriemas, it's possible to occur. It's possible for major crime to occur. Now, this sentence could not be read okoriumas because it's in the mas form. Only one eru is in its dictionary form and positive dictionary form at that. So, okoriemas. Next sentence is, 運転中の事故は起こり得るので、注意しなければいけません. So it is possible for accidents to occur when driving, so you must be careful. Breaking this one down, it's 運転中, so while driving. 運転中の事故. So accidents while driving. Wa, that's a topic. 起こり得るので. Now this is eru in the dictionary form, so it could be read either eru or uru, and it's just going to depend on the person. Some people will say 起こりうる. Some people will say 起こり得る. Whichever one they feel is more easy, I guess. So, 運転中の事故は起こり得るので, it's possible for accidents to occur while driving. So, 注意しなければいけません. You must be careful. 注意する means to be careful. それは秘密の情報だから A 君は知り得ないはずだよ. So, that's secret information. So, I expect that A couldn't know it, or it's not possible for A to know it. Breaking this one down, それは, so that, 秘密の情報, it's secret information. だから, so, A 君, so A, は, that's a new topic emphasizing what comes next. 知り得ない, so this is negative, which means it's impossible to know, or not possible to know. And because it is in the negative, it has to be read as え. So, 知り得ないはずだよ. I expect that this is the case because of some common sense, right? Hazu is a common sense or there's a reason for it. You have a good reason to believe that, logical reason. And the logical reason here is that it's secret information. So I don't see any way that it's possible for A-kun to know about it. Our next one is 練習で成功しても本番で失敗することはありえます. So even if you succeed in practice, it is possible to fail at the real event. So 練習で, so at practice or via practice, 成功しても, even if you succeed, 成功しても, 本番で, so at the real day, 本番 is the real event or the main event or the true thing you're practicing for. で、失敗, failure, すること, so the thing which is failure はariemas, so it's possible. Here we have arieru, right? And it's in its mas form. This one's very frequent in regular conversation. So, ariemas. So, even if you succeed in practice, it is possible to fail at the real event. Alright, our next one is 昨日の夜に注文した商品がもう届くなんてありえない。早すぎる。So, impossible. The product I ordered last night is already delivered. It's too fast. Breaking it down, we have 昨日の夜, so yesterday night, に, so on yesterday night or in yesterday night, 注文した商品, so the product which I ordered. が, and that's the subject, もう届く, so already deliver, なんて, so something like the product I just ordered last night being delivered already. ありえない, it's impossible. 早すぎる, it's too fast. I think this is our last example. It's この公園は静かなので読書し得るいい環境です。So this park is quiet, so it's a good environment where reading is possible. この公園 this park は静かなので it's quiet. So, and we need the な between 静か and ので because 静か is a na adjective. So 静かなので読書 is reading. し得る possible to read. し得る it's possible to read here. いい環境です。So that 読書し得るいい those are both modifying 環境. So it's an environment that is possible to read and good. So possible to read and good. A little bit weird in English, but I translated it here as this park is quiet, so it's a good environment where reading is possible. Which brings us to the continuation of our story from last week. The main character who is speaking, the narrator, was on his way home from a party with his friend, not his friend, his junior, his kohai, and they passed by a shrine, which was a small shrine that was purple, but as far as this guy knows, that place is not purple because it's a very famous shrine that he passes every single day, and he can't imagine it being purple. So let's go ahead and learn a little bit more about that. Yuki's going to read it for us tonight.
Hi.
So let's go ahead and see what we got. お願いします。
紫の神社は珍しいけれどあり得るものだ。でも毎日通っている道のこの神社は紫なはずがない。だからおかしいと思ったのになぜこんなバカなことをしてしまったんだろう。ゲーセンのチケットが賽銭箱に入った瞬間、体験したことがない痛みが雷のように足元から頭まで走って目の前が真っ暗になった。最後に覚えているのは体が落ちていくような感覚だった。
All right, let's go ahead and break this down. We'll have Yuki read this first part one more time. お願いします。
紫の神社は珍しいけれどあり得るものだ。でも毎日通っている道のこの神社は紫なはずがない。だからおかしいと思ったのになぜこんなバカなことをしてしまったんだろう。
So purple shrines are unusual, but they are possible. But I'm quite sure that this shrine on this road that I visit every day is not purple. Despite thinking that was strange, why did I do something this stupid? So if you remember from the last lesson, what the person did is their junior threw in a coin, a 5 yen coin, into the offering box in front of the shrine, which there always is in front of shrines. And this guy checked his wallet, and he had used all his money that night at their party. So all he had was a game center ticket, and he threw that in. And that's where our story ended last week. So what he's saying here is Murasaki no jinja, so a pink shrine, wa, topic.
Purple shrine.
Was that right? Purple shrine, right. Wa, mezurashii keredo, it's unusual, but あり得るものだ. It's a thing which is possible. だ. でも, but 毎日 every day 通っている道, a street which I visit every day or walk down every single day. のこの神社は so this shrine. So this shrine which I visit every day or pass by every day は topic 紫なはずがない. So はずがない is from our last lesson. It's still lesson 9, but last time we did this. And it means, of course, that I don't expect that it's possible. So I don't expect that it's possible that this shrine is purple. Since I visit it every day, that's my logic. I must visit every day, and it wasn't purple any other day. So だから so おかしいと思ったのに despite thinking that was strange. なぜ why こんなバカなことをしてしまったんだろう. Why did I do something so stupid? And our main grammar point here is あり得るものだ. It's a thing which is possible.
ゲーセンのチケットが 賽銭箱に入った瞬間、体験したことがない痛みが雷のように足元から頭まで走って目の前が真っ暗になった。
So the moment the game center ticket entered the offering box, a pain I'd never experienced ran from the soles of my feet to my head like lightning, and my eyes went completely dark. So breaking this down, we have ゲーセンのチケット. So game center is the real word, but most people just say ゲーセン for game center. And then arcade, right? So ゲーセンのチケット, so the game center ticket が賽銭箱 is the offering box に入った瞬間. So at the moment that the game center ticket entered the offering box, 体験したことがない痛み. So pain which I've never experienced. 体験 is experience. 体験する is, I guess, an N1 word that means to experience something. 体験したことがない means I've never experienced something, a pain like this. 痛みが雷のように like lightning. 足元から so from the bottom of my feet 頭まで to my head. 走って so it ran from the bottom of my feet to my head. 目の前が so before my eyes became 真っ暗になった so became pitch black. Yeah, so my eyes went black basically. Everything went dark.
なんででしょうね。
なんででしょうね。
最後に覚えているのは体が落ちていくような感覚だった。
So the last thing I remember was the sensation of my body falling. 最後に覚えているの. So that no is nominalizing the last thing I remember. 最後に覚えているのは体が so my body 落ちていく so going to fall ような like going to fall 感覚 so sensation だった。体が落ちていくような感覚だった。The last thing I remember was the sensation of my body falling. So the question time for this section is...
どんな人生があなたにとってありえない人生ですか？
So what type of life is something that is not... it's impossible for you to even think of, right? Yeah. Okay, the first one is...
はい。牡蠣が食べれない人生なんてありえない。
So you're going to be combining nante, which we learned a couple lessons ago, with arienai here. So a life where I couldn't eat oysters. I always forget. So nante is say something like a life where I couldn't eat oysters. Arienai, it's impossible. The next one is
ディズニーランドに行けない人生なんてありえない。
something like a life where I can't go to Disneyland. Arienai, it's impossible. It's impossible for you to even imagine it, basically.
はい、みんなのありえない人生募集中です。
Okay, so our next section is without even ing, without even doing, for example. So, and this is もしない もしない It just means without even, or even without doing something, or without even doing something. And once again, for this one, just like the last one, we take the mas stem, which is, of course, if you're going to make the mas form of a verb, which we learned in Genki Lesson 3, you just cut off the mas, and that's the stem, whatever's left over. So for taberu, it would be tabe. That's the stem. For asobu, it would be asobi, because that's where you'd add mas. That's why you call it the mas stem, for those of you who are kind of new and just hanging out. So the mas stem, and you add mo shinai. So that would mean without even doing the verb, whatever that verb is. So if the verb were eat, tabe mo shinai means without even eating. Asobi mo shinai means without even playing. And for some reason, every time I hear a verb plus mo shinai, I feel like I'm rhyming. So asobi mo shinai, it feels very rhythmic to me, but I don't think it's supposed to be. But just to me, for some reason, it feels very rhythmic. That's it. That's all it means without even doing whatever the verb is. So our first example sentence is 勉強もしないでテストで良い点が取れるなんてありえないよ. So we've got a couple grammar points here. The first thing to point out here is that for suru verbs, you're mostly going to have the mo shinai attached directly to the noun itself. The noun that is, because suru verbs are actually just a noun with suru attached to it, right? So for mo shinai situations, you're just going to have the noun itself. So 勉強もしない means to not even study, without even studying. So 勉強もしないで. This de is the negative te form of a verb, I guess, right? So しない becomes しないで, and we're using it here so we can attach it to the next part of the sentence. So 勉強もしないで. テストで, so via a test, 良い点, good grade, が, that's a subject, 取れる, able to get, なんて. So this is just like our last section. ありえないよ, it's impossible. So without even studying, it's not possible to do something like get a good grade or a good score on the test, you know? That you know is the yo particle. Our next one is 食べもしないで美味しくないなんて言えません. So you can't say something like it tastes bad without even eating it. Which there's a word for that. It's called 食わず嫌い. I'm going to pop that in chat. 食わず嫌い. That's one of my favorite words. 食わず嫌い. It's not really a word. It's more of a combination of two words, but it's a set phrase. And it means to not like something without eating it. Exactly what it says, actually. 食わず嫌い. So this whole sentence basically describes 食わず嫌い. So 食べもしないで. So without even eating. 美味しくないなんて. Something like it's not delicious. 言えません. You can't say something like it's not delicious without even eating. 人の気持ちを知りもしないで攻撃的なことを言うのは良くないと思います. So attacking someone without even knowing their feelings is not good, I think. So let's break this one down. We have 人の気持ち, so someone's feelings or people's feelings. を, that's the direct object of 知りもしないで. So without even knowing or understanding someone's feelings or a person's feelings. 攻撃的. 攻撃的 is like aggressive or attacking. なこと. So a thing that is aggressive or attacking. を言う. So saying a thing that is attacking or aggressive. のは. So that whole thing is being nominalized with the no there. のは. And emphasizing what comes next. This is the most important part. 良くない. It's not good. と思います. I think. So attacking someone without even knowing their feelings is not good, I think. Our next sentence is 息子は友達と遊びもしないでうちで勉強ばかりしている. So my son does nothing but study at home without even playing with his friends. So 息子, my son, は, he's the topic, 友達と, so with his friends, 遊びもしないで, so without even playing with his friends, うちで, so via the house or at home, 勉強ばかり, nothing but studying, している. He's doing nothing but studying. So my son does nothing but study at home without even playing with his friends. 犬は遊ぶのに夢中で僕の声に振り向きもしない. So the dog is absorbed in its play. It doesn't even look when I call. So 犬は, 犬 is the topic, the dog. 遊ぶのに夢中. So he's absorbed in his play. 夢中 is to be absorbed in something. So 遊ぶのに夢中で. So he's the thing which is play, no, ni, so in the direction of that, 夢中, he's absorbed in it. So he's absorbed in his play. De, and 僕の声, so my voice, ni, in that direction. 振り向き, 振り向く is to look back at someone. So 振り向きもしない. So he doesn't even look back when I call. オレンジの皮でお皿洗いするなんて考えもしなかった. So I never even thought of something like washing dishes with orange peels. So 考えもしない or 考えもしなかった is actually a common phrase. Idiomatic expression, I think, is the word that Quartet used, which means never even thought of something. There's three of these phrases I think that Quartet brings up. One is 考えもしない or しなかった. 想像もしなかった, so never even imagined. And I believe the other one is 思いつきもしなかった. So yeah, and that one is also never thought of. But both 考えもしなかった and 思いつきもしなかった. It never even came to my mind is the second one. So オレンジの皮, so orange peels. で, so using those or utilizing those. お皿洗い, so washing dishes. するなんて, so something like washing dishes with orange peels. 考えもしなかった. I never even thought of something like washing dishes with orange peels. And that actually works. When we were in, どこだったっけ? New Zealand, right? Yeah, we were in New Zealand and we were on we were like a week out in the not the bush because it's New Zealand, but in the middle of nowhere, just out in the middle of nowhere, hiking. There's no towns. We had about a week through the backcountry. and we had no dish soap. So what we did have was mikan, oranges. So we were able to wash our dishes with the orange peels because orange peel actually cleans away oil, just like soap. It was pretty impressive. I was pretty surprised. It's something that you can do. I never even thought of something like washing dishes with orange peels, but Yuki had that knowledge, so we did it, and it worked. はい、僕のアイディアが大失敗するなんて想像もしなかった。So this is the other one that I gave, the other idiomatic expression, which is never even imagined. So 僕のアイディア, my idea が, that's the subject, 大失敗する. So 大失敗するなんて, so something like failing spectacularly, failing spectacularly. So a big failure is 大失敗するなんて. So something like my big idea or my idea failing spectacularly, 想像もしなかった. I never even imagined something like that. いつも A 君は周りが思いつきもしないユニークなものを作っている. So A always makes unique things that those around him would never even think of. So いつも all the time. A 君は so A, he's this topic. 周りが so this 周り means the people around him. That's all combined in this one little word. 周りが they're the subject. 思いつきもしない so wouldn't even think of or wouldn't even come to their minds. Unique, and that expression is modifying unique なもの so unique things that people around him would never even think of. を作っている He's making unique things that other people around him would never even think of all the time. Which brings us to our story, the continuation of our story, which unfortunately is not going to end today. So let's get Yuki over here. It's going to have to continue into lesson 10.
はい。
Oh well.
その日から毎日オレンジピールで食器を洗っているユキです。
今はしてねえだろ。
毎日みかん食べてます。そのた
We
め
are
に
doing
ね。
that actually. Yes. はい、お願いします。
はい。次の瞬間、アラームの音で目が覚めた。あれ？いつ帰ったっけ？あれは夢だったのか？飲みすぎたのか？と思った。アラームを止めようとして携帯を取って時間を見た。やばい！ 8 時だ。仕事に間に合わない。昨日の服のまま駅へ走り出した。ギリギリ仕事に間に合った。その日最初に会ったのは後輩だった。あれ？先輩。服を着替えもしないで仕事に来るくらい酔っ払っていましたか？あの神社で別れたとき平気そうでしたが。あれは夢じゃなかった。
後輩は新しい後輩が出たね。はい、お願いします。One more time,
はい
full speed.
次の瞬間、アラームの音で目が覚めた。あれ？いつ帰ったっけ？あれは夢だったのか？飲みすぎたのか？と思った。
So the next moment, I awoke to my alarm. Huh? When did I come home? Was that a dream? Did I drink too much? I thought. So 次の瞬間. So the next moment. アラームの音. So the sound of the alarm. で, so via that sound. 目が覚めた. I awoke. あれ? Huh? いつ帰ったっけ? That small 2 plus K means it's like I'm expressing forgetfulness about what they're saying. So when did I come home again? So いつ帰ったっけ? あれは夢だったのか? So was it a dream? 飲みすぎたのか? Did I drink too much? と思った. So he thought, or I thought.
アラームを止めようとして携帯を取って時間を見た。やばい！ 8 時だ！仕事に間に合わない。昨日の服のまま駅へ走り出した。ギリギリ仕事に間に合った。その日、最初に会ったのは後輩だった。
So I went to stop my alarm, grabbed my phone, and looked at the time. Crap! It's 8! I'll be late for work! I ran towards the station in yesterday's clothes. I barely made it on time. That day, the first person I met was my junior. So, アラーム, so alarm, を止めようとして、so I went to stop my alarm. 携帯を取って、I grabbed my phone. 時間も見た. And I saw the time. Or I looked at the time. やばい! Oh no! 8時だ! It's 8 o'clock! 仕事に間に合わない. I won't be on time for work. 仕事に間に合わない. 間に合う is to be on time. 昨日の服のまま. So, no mama is just something doesn't change. It stays in that state. So, 昨日の服. So, yesterday's clothes. No mama means just in yesterday's clothes still. 駅へ走り出した. So, I started to run towards the station. 走り出す. That 出す. I actually did a video on that 出す a long time ago, over 2 years ago. And it basically means to start doing that thing suddenly. So, 走り出した means I started running towards the station. ギリギリ, so just barely. 仕事に, so at work. 間に合った. I made it on time. その日, that day. 最初に会ったのは, so the first person I met that day. 最初に会ったのは, the no is nominalizing first met. のは後輩だった was my junior.
あれ先輩
どうぞ。あ、そう見てなかった。ごめん。見てなかった。
あ、ごめん。ちょっと髪なぶってた。
あ、いいよいいよ。
あれ先輩服を着替えもしないで仕事に来るくらい酔っ払っていましたか？あの神社で別れた時平気そうでしたが。あれは夢じゃなかった。
なんかだんだんヤンキーになってきたね。
先輩、後輩調子出すからね。
そうだね。Ha! Senior, were you so drunk that you came to work without even changing your clothes? When we split up at that shrine, you seemed fine, but that wasn't a dream. So breaking this down, we've got あれ senpai. So hey, senior. 服を so clothes を着替えもしないで so without even changing your clothes. To change your clothes is 着替える so without even changing your clothes. で so that's just connecting to the next part. 仕事に so in the direction of work. 来るくらい so that くらい is from a couple weeks ago and it's to the extent that you come to work without even changing your clothes. 酔っ払っていましたか? You were drunk? あの神社で so at that shrine 別れた時 so when we split up at that shrine 平気そうでしたが so 平気 means to be fine just fine basically 平気そうでしたが you seemed fine but で the narrator says あれは so that 夢じゃなかった it wasn't a dream and that's where we finished today. The story is going to continue. I tried to wrap it up this week but I needed more time to finish the story. So.
セクションが足りなかった。
There wasn't enough sections. We only had 2 sections today. So that's where the story ends. I need 2 or 3 more sections, I think, to finish this story completely. 2 I could probably do, but 3 should do it. Hi, question time is...
はい。〇〇もしないでうまくいくわけがないよと何かを失敗した友達に注意してください。
So please tell someone who is not doing well or has failed at something, or just make a sentence like this, either way, where it is without doing something, there's no way you'll do okay or that you'll do well. So 何々もしないでうまくいく, so do well, わけがない. That わけがない is from last week, and it means there's no way that you'll do well. Well, the うまくいく means to do well. But anyway, the first example is...
はい。クッキーのレシピも見ないで。
クッキーのレシピを。
あ、しまった。
いえ。
クッキーのレシピを見もしないでうまく焼けるわけがないよ。
そう。Without even looking at the recipe for the cookies. うまく焼けるわけがないよ. There's no way that you can bake them well. So クッキーのレシピを見もしないで. So without even looking at the cookie recipe. うまく焼ける. So 焼ける is to bake something or to cook fry something. Fry or bake. So bake well. わけがないよ. There's no way. The next one was
サッカーの練習もしないで試合でうまくいくわけがないよ。
So without even practicing for soccer, there's no way you'll do well at the game. サッカーの練習, so soccer practice もしないで without even doing that. 試合で, so at the game, うまくいくわけがないよ. There's no way that you'll do well. So how about you guys? Thumbs up を攻撃してください. Please attack the thumbs up button. If you didn't like this stream, hit the thumbs down twice. That's a requirement. チャンネル登録お願いします. If you've made it to this point in the video, This was quite a short video, so you might not be subscribed. Hit that bell so that you know when we go live next time. Have a good night, guys. Thank you so much.
はい、来てくれてありがとう。
また次のビデオで会いましょうね。
はい、みんなもお疲れ様でした。バイバイ。
お疲れ様でした。Planning to use these books to learn Japanese in 2022? We explain all the grammar from these books and more here on YouTube in detail. And on ToKiniAndy.com, we have tons of extra grammar explanations, interactive practice exercises with Yuki and I, native shadowing exercises so you can get practice speaking even when you're by yourself, tests, and even progress bars to track your progress through the book. We also plan on beginning to add tons of level-appropriate immersion material throughout 2022. We even have a new exclusive community for members where they can ask questions, help each other, and even play silly Japanese word games. Over 1,800 people have already utilized the ToKini Andy and Yuki premium content. Join the community today and kickstart your Japanese learning journey.